Hi guys, it's Kelly here and I'm back with another video for Honeybee Stamps. Today we are going to be doing 2 cards using a rainbow color scheme. I have pulled out the Lucky to Have You, Happy Birthday, I think it's the quilted cover plate, and then one of the first lovely layers that we ever had, which is the heart vines. And this is one I haven't used in a long time, but I think it's like an oldie but a goodie. And so I wanted to bust it out and use it because we have Valentine's Day coming up, but as you can see here, it can be used for more than just Valentine's Day. So the idea that I had was I kind of wanted to do like a tone on tone, but I wanted it to be a rainbow. And so that's why you see me making multiple backgrounds. The third panel that I'm doing is actually for the more subtle rainbow card, because we're just going to be using the outline for that. So obviously it's a lovely layers die, so it has like a base and then a topper. This one's pretty simple. So it has like the outline of the little heart vines and then it has a base piece. For the more brightly colored Happy Birthday one, we're going to use both. And for the Lucky to Have You, we're just going to use the outline. So here, I'm just trying to lay down my colors in a way that is not going to make mud. So I'm just doing my best. I'm doing my best. So I started with the pink in the corner, and then I'm just trying to put colors next to each other that are going to work really well, with kind of the blue being in the center, because the only one that doesn't work well with the blue is its complement, which is orange. But other than that, every other color works with it, which is why I stand by the blue as a neutral. So then, you know, I'm basically just doing them all the same. The reason I'm doing them all the same is because I want to be able to do that like tone on tone look where it's very subtle, because we're already going to have a lot going on with the color scheme, so I don't need a lot going on with my pattern. And then the third one, it was honestly just easiest to do it the same. And then here I'm just going back in with the blue and kind of adding that in to make it a little bit brighter. You can always go back into your previously put, colors that you laid down and brighten them up. Whatever color you put down last is what you're going to see the most of. So if you want that to be more pink forward, go back in and do the pink, or go back in and do the purple. You get what I'm saying. Then, because these are distress inks, they react with water. So I am going in and splattering. First I did with just clean water to create some interest in the background, and then I pulled in those Perfect Pearls in the color Perfect Pearl, and I am splattering those on to add some shine. Truthfully, I don't think you can really see it in the one that we cut out, but in the one where we actually kept the background, you can totally see it. So I think it's worth it. Here I am cutting the base out of the white, the base of the heart vines out of white. I'm also doing the cover plate in white as well. For both of these sentiments, these are the ones that kind of interlock together. And we have a couple of different ones. The Happy Birthday is probably my most used one. But anyway, I'm going to cut the letters out of white and then the shadows out of black. If you want something that's a little bit more subtle, you could use vellum. And then that it wouldn't be kind of as bold and is your face as both of these designs are. But I like black and white with rainbow because I like a little bit of bold contrast. So you do whatever works for you. Here, I just wanted to show you that I found it easiest to just kind of hover it over in my case, I used a craft catcher as my trash can, but just used my die release tool to poke out all of those ones in the center before I even took the die out, and that just worked best for me. And then each time I'm just going back in, lining them up and cutting them out. For the one in the background, I did let the die hang off the sides. Like I didn't cut them as full pieces, and I was fine with that because then it looks like the pattern continues off the page. The sentiments, like I said, I just did the white on the black. That provides enough contrast. If you wanted to, you could stack them up to make them a little bit thicker, to give them like a little bit more weight, but I was fine with just using the black and white. So for this one, which is the one that's really subtle, kind of like rainbow florals in the background, I decided to cut them apart so that I could arrange them so it was more of a I had more control over where the vines were sitting. I knew that I wanted to do the diagonal, and the vines are made to work together in a diagonal, but I just couldn't get the placement right where it was balanced. So cutting them apart helped me do that. Never be afraid to cut your die cuts apart if that's what's going to work better for your design. And then here, lining these up, the happy birthday is in two pieces. Like there's the H, B, I, and D is one, and then the rest of it is another. I never really have a hard time lining these up at all. I just think it's like a really good, well done die cut set. And anytime I need a bold sentiment, I reach for that. And mostly the only cards I use are birthday cards. So then here for the actual layering, I'm using the white base and I'm putting the rainbow ones that we cut on top of there. And I found, like, yes, doing the glue can be a little bit tedious, because you're just doing the dots over and over again. It does go by pretty fast though, honestly. But then I tried to do it with my tweezers and I found that it was actually easier to do with my hands. So as long as you don't mind getting a little glue on your fingertips, which does rub right off, then I found it easiest to work with my hands. I would absolutely recommend doing this with a liquid adhesive versus a dry adhesive. The liquid adhesive is going to give you more wiggle room to kind of move them into the space and line them up, versus the dry adhesive, which is going to grab right away. So then you can see I'm kind of laying them down where they are, the pink's on top of the pink, the teal's on top of the teal. You get what I'm saying. And then here, I'm going to glue them down. But before I put on my sentiment, because I can't leave anything, you guys know, I can't leave anything alone, and I need to have all of the glitters. Not everybody's going to like glitters, and that's fine. You could also, like if you wanted more contrast between the background, you could, instead of doing the glitter, which is what I'm going to do here shortly, you could color these with like a marker or colored pencil and make them the same color, so like still pink, just a little bit darker, and that would also provide a tone on tone look without it creating a lot of busy pattern, which is really what I was trying to avoid here. So then once I have them down and glued into their spots, I am going to go ahead and trim off the excess. I ended up trimming my whole panel after the fact to be able to give it like a little black mat. If you know you want to use a black mat, just go ahead and trim your cardstock down to start, because even using my guillotine trimmer, I was able to trim it. Don't get me wrong, but I did have to put down quite a bit of pressure to get it done. And you and I both know the more that you kind of have to use more pressure, the higher the likelihood that there could be a mishap. So if you already know that you want to have a mat, I almost always have a mat. So what was I thinking? Who knows? I don't know. But anyway, so here I'm using Stardust Stickles, and I'm just going around. I'm not being like super precious about whether or not the glitter gets on the white. If it does, it does. If it doesn't, it doesn't. I don't care. I'm really concentrating getting the glitter onto the outline colored portions of the vine. And then I am going to pop up these sentiments just as an added layer of interest, because we do have like the bright colors and stuff going on in the background. But other than that, we don't really have anything else going on with our card. And then especially for the Lucky to Have You, we have the more subtle kind of rainbow vine pieces, but then we have interest with the cover plate, but then, everything's just black and white. So it's a very kind of more subtle card. So adding that bit of popped up dimension is going to help it add more interest. My little green, blue, purple vine moved when I went to go put it down. So I just kind of had to work around that. Here's where I'm doing the trimming. Like I said, if you know that you're going to trim it, then just do it. If you're like me and you're like, you always put a mat on a card, is that just me? I don't know. Maybe it's like leftover from the like 90 early 2000s scrapbooking days where we like matted the mat to mat all the mats. Like you would have a photo with like 16 mats. Yeah, it was a style choice. It was a style choice back then. So anywho, I do like the way that the black matte kind of brings in the sentiment. You could also do like black gemstones or pearls to bring in the sentiment as well. I am going to add gemstone and pearls. I just didn't add black. So of course this lucky to have you card will not get away unscathed. It will also have glitter because why? It's my card. And so I did go in and get those little bits. Obviously, doing this after the fact, you're only going to be adding glitter to just the parts that you can see. And then I did add some shimmer to the white portion. Now, be advised, if you overshoot your letters and you get it on the black background, you will be able to see it. Just letting you know. So for the lucky to have you, I used this is the Let's Party gem stack, by the way. So I used the blue on the lucky to have you. I used a light pink on the happy birthday, and I think they both came out really cute. So let me know, are you team subtle rainbow or team bright rainbow? I feel like bright rainbows are the best way to celebrate birthdays, but hey, that's just me. So anyway, thank you guys so much for joining me. I always appreciate your time, and I will catch you on the next video. Bye.